My name is Oshifeso Oluwadamilare. I'm a mechanic. Welcome to Exxon F1, also known as Formula One Column Africa. In Monza, the FP3. Before we get into the FP3, let's talk about what we need to talk about today. The weather report, Norris's complaints, flexing wings, tires, upgrades, possible strategy for tomorrow, race winner for tomorrow and pole position, cars of Monza. And also I need to talk about the FIA. So sit back, relax, let's get into it. The weather report for tomorrow says it will be sunny. Debe, as in, I can't wait for the sun, seriously, because it's tricky when you race in the rain. You know a lot of things can happen, but the chances of rain tomorrow, 0%. You know, like 4 days ago, they said for Sunday there will be chances of rain, and it's about 70%. So I said that in our last podcast, but recently, I think it's their weather machine. The person that forecasted that one just left the wrong hotel room that day when he made that forecast. So the conditions tomorrow, mostly sunny, dry condition, but with light southerly winds in the afternoon. So during the race, there will be winds. The race temperature will be like 29 degrees maximum and 17 degrees Celsius expected, but no chance of rain. Yes, which is better. Now, Norris is complaining that since F1 introduced these new technical regulations, himself as a young driver, I think he's just 23 years, and he's complaining about back pain. Wait, then use condo break your back, because I don't understand the back pain he's complaining about. How many is his body? I remember last year when drivers were complaining about the ground effect car. You know, they started using the cars last year. A lot of drivers complained, especially when they were having this bouncing. It was serious last year, the first year of the new regulations. The car was so bouncy, especially the Mercedes and the Alpha Tauri. So the Mercedes driver, like the age-old Hamilton, was complaining that the car was too bouncy and is giving him back pain and this, that. And everybody, including, I don't want to be calling that guy Christian, Chris Honor, because that guy is not a Christian at all. Including Chris Honor, you know, it was like, oh, this, that, saying a lot of things that were very, very unholy and unheard of, because they did a perfect job last year. They did a beautiful job this year. So, but sometimes you don't just come out and start backlashing, because even your drivers are feeling it. So for Lando Norris to come out and say that, you should know that it's not just him. Almost all drivers are feeling it now, but they are not talking. And he is young, 23 to 38. Lewis is 38. That is 15 years. Jesus. And at 23, he's complaining that he's having back pain already. Norris Pele, you have a girlfriend already now. You are not a small boy, so she has a job to do. Just marry her, and she starts rubbing your back. That's the only solution I can give you. Better, because back issues, enjoy. This is Formula One. You guys called for it. Just 2 years, the ground effect cars are gone. Now, on the flexing wings, you know, since the beginning of the season, the FIA has been trying to clamp down on the flexing wing. They've tried a lot of ways to clamp it down to say, okay, this flexing wing is becoming trickier. Drivers and teams should stop using the flexing front wings design, because it gives them an undue advantage to some teams. And in Azerbaijan, Aston Martin was cautioned and they were told to work on their wings, to change their front wings, and they should make changes to it because they believe it is unacceptable and does not comply with the FIA technical regulations, which state that all components that influences a car's aerodynamics performance must be rigidly secured and immobile with respect to their frame and reference defined. The reference defined in Article 3.3. Furthermore, these components must produce a uniform, solid, hard, continuous, impervious surface under all circumstances. And yesterday we can see the Ferrari front wings flexing. Flexing. We could notice the Red Bull front wing flexing. They are flexing as if they are flexing in a party. So the FIA is clamping down on it, and they said they should stop because it is not right. It is going to affect other teams if they are gaining undue advantage from that sort of a thing. Now, on the tires, like I told you yesterday, the new format for the weekend. The format has been used before, but how would this format encourage? Let's say encourage. How would this format help teams or make qualifying more interesting? There's no rain, so with this new format, I think it should be more interesting. Now, hard tires, Q1. Medium tires, Q2. Soft tires, Q3. On a track that is very difficult to overtake. If you are a leading car, especially if you have a car that has a solid straight line speed, it's very difficult to overtake. But all these normal cars that does not have straight line speed, they play. Will just overtake you like anything. But with this opportunity of hard tires for Q1, it will give the drivers an opportunity, for those that get their tires light up easily, that is to get their tires quickly heated up. It gives them an advantage of getting into the groove and getting their lap times better. But there's a problem with the Monza track, and that problem is majorly drivers want to gain advantage with slipstream. Joy of it is you are going to be on throttle 80%, but those braking points are hard braking points in which most cars can understeer. Majorly, they will have understeering issue there. Oversteering is little, not much, especially the only places they can have oversteer should be, I think, turn 7. When they're coming out of turn 7, if the car balance is not there, they can oversteer. But the major problems they'll be having, especially in turn 1, turn 2, is understeer. So if the braking points are not well marked, they understeer out, and when they understeer, the tires will lock up because you'll be steering the car to one side, the steering will not be going. That's understeering. So they would have a lot of issues with that. So if the tires are too cold, that too can cause understeer. If the tires are not well lit up, so that would bring some teams in the game. But tires to be used are the Q1 hard tires, Q2 medium tires, Q3 soft tires. Now to the cars that have been upgraded, most teams did not bring much upgrade, just brought some bits, just to complement, to make the cars look, good, not to rub them off, just to make those cars look great. Let's start with the McLaren. They didn't really bring any upgrade. They brought a new front brake duct scoop for more cooling on the front brake, then a new lower drag flap assembly and trims, the modified rear wing end plate infill for Monza specifically because they need a car that is not too draggy, lower drag rear wing assembly, then revised rear corner winglet arrangement. For the Alpha Tauri, the camber front wing flap, they were trimmed. They didn't bring that. Those parts were trimmed. The cord and the camber of the beam wing were revised. Those ones were also trimmed. The several upper rear brake drum element have been removed. So that one is not an upgrade, it is a downgrade. They removed that. Then the 3 turning vanes were removed from the rear view mirror. So they trimmed the rear view mirror. Those vanes around, they removed it so that they can have a better downforce. The Mercedes, they brought small cord upper rear wings, that is track specific for Monza, and a small cord beam wing, which is also track specific. I think that's the only place they are going to be using those kinds of upgrades in the race. And you can see I've talked about 3 teams that have brought almost the same thing because it is track specific. The Alfa Romeo, they've brought different profiles of the main plane and end plate of the rear wing. So they changed the profile of their rear wings, which is track specific, and also new geometry of their front suspension. So they've changed the geometry of their front suspension to something that looks like what the Red Bull are using. Then for the Ferrari, they've brought a lower downforce top and rear wing design, track specific, and also lower downforce front wing flap design, which is flexing. That one is flexing. It's also track specific, but it is flexing. That's one of the things that the FIA are complaining about. Then the Red Bull, they've made a trim on the front wing flap trailing edge, which is track specific. They just trimmed it off, and also they've trimmed down their rear wing flap trailing edge, track specific. Like I said, some of these things are track specific. For the Aramco team, that's the Aston Martin, they brought a new rear wing flap with reduced cord on the low drag rear wing. They brought a low drag cord on their rear wing to make it more stable and to give them more downforce. To the Williams, that Williams, I'm talking about it, don't worry. They brought a front wing flap element that is revised. The Alpine, they fitted a pack to their beam wing to give revised profile to the element, as in they added to their rear beam wing to give them more downforce. And to the Aston, they didn't bring a dime. That is the ask for you. They decided that their car is very good, well upgraded, perfect, and they didn't bring anything. Now, what are the possible strategies for tomorrow? The race will be a 53 laps race. With the sun, we're expecting like a 2-stop. But some teams might want to make it a 1-stop. Teams like Mercedes will want to play their game. They have nothing to lose. They might run maybe soft on their first team to give them the opportunity to overtake maybe contenders around them, then go on the hard tires and go long, possibly, or they go on the medium, then to the hard tires. But for a team like Red Bull that has nothing to lose also, they are fast already, so they may think of going 3 stops and use the 3 compounds of tire. But for Ferrari, they have a lot to lose. It's their home race, and they have been one of the slowest teams on pit stops, so I think they will be going on medium and hard. They want to go long. The Aston Martin too might want to go long, and also the McLaren. But for the backbenchers, I don't see Williams as a backbencher in this race because they have the speed to conquer. So the Williams very tender on tires, so they might do medium hard and go long on both. But for the rest, their wish is their own command. But like I said, for the pole position, I am still tipping Ferrari for the pole position. The Mercedes will be so close. So the P2 might be Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen. But Charles Leclerc possibly gunning for the pole position, or Carlos Sainz, and any of them. And if both of them are gunning faster, they might come in Ferrari 1-2, then possibly a Mercedes 3 or Red Bull 3. That is what I see. But for race winning, there is a course in Monza. I've said it yesterday and I'm saying saying it again. So don't let me predict, but I'm predicting that Verstappen will not win this race. Yes, you heard me. I am predicting that Max Verstappen won't win this race. But possibly it could be a win for Mercedes, the first win for Mercedes this year, because I don't see Ferrari winning the race. They don't have the race pace. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Now to FP3. FP3, everybody left it too long. They did a lot of simulations to bring it in. It was the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz that peeped Max Verstappen's car by a 600th to P1, with Max Verstappen peeping, not just peeping, dusting Mercedes by 5/10 in second place, and Hamilton coming in third. To be a very very close one in qualifying, but I see Ferrari doing a good job and Mercedes also doing a good job against the Red Bull. Now, who are the threats? If you look at the straight line speed of the Williams, anybody that the Williams is ahead of tomorrow, that person is in trouble. That team is in trouble because they are the fastest. The two Williams are the fastest on the straight line. After the two Williams, then comes the Aston Martin, then the Ferrari, then the Red Bull. So it's going to be a tight one for anybody that the Williams are in front of tomorrow, because that team is going to suffer. Hey, I cannot tell you how that team will suffer, because it will be very difficult for them to overtake Williams tomorrow, because the Williams are going to gun it down. So let's see what will happen, but it will be a very interesting race and a very difficult race for some teams. And I can see there will be red flags tomorrow, 3+ yellow flags tomorrow, 100%. There will be 3+ yellow flags tomorrow, and it's going to be an interesting race. But for the qualifying, Perez didn't really have much to do in the FP3 because he was having issues with oil leakage. So before the qualifying, he had his engine changed quickly to one of the engines he has used before. I think they've repaired that, so that was what they put in the back of his Red Bull. Also, Carlos Sainz had his transmission changed just for precautionary reasons. No penalty for the two of them. And also, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz were actually called to the steward room for probing because they didn't follow the race director's program. But later, they were both vindicated. But let's go to qualifying. How it was in qualifying. Whoa, qualifying was superb. I told you it was going to be close, and I told you it was going to be Ferrari pole position. Not just because they are home, because they don't want to disappoint their fans. So the Q1 running on that tires, this whole thing is so close. 7/10 between P1 and P15. 7/10 and 5/10 between P1 and P10. 5/10. That's how close the qualifying was on that tire. Lewis Hamilton was not having a good day. For you Mercedes fans and Lewis Hamilton fans, he was losing time on most corners. Struggled out of Q1, struggled out of Q2, and also majorly, let me tell you, the Williams. I told you earlier that Williams, their problem, especially that Williams in the hands of Alex Albon. Jesus, that Williams is going to give them props. Down. Take it or leave. And we could see today that the Ferrari on the straight line, they were so fast. Maybe they turned their engine up. Maybe they had good aerodynamics, or the little beam wing and the front wings they changed. But they were on point today. They were faster on the straight. But that fast on the straight, they were not as fast as Williams. Oh Jesus! None of the team, even Red Bull, I'm telling you, they are not as fast as Williams on the straight in Monza. Take it or leave it. So Q2 was close also. It was very close because the AlphaTauri showed their pace. They were so dominant. They too were strong. They were not dominant, they were strong. Domination is not their portion. They are far from domination. Red Bull is dominant. Very strong. Medium tires for Q2. And the qualifying gap between P1 and P3 in Q2 was 510. That's 0.054 qualifying gap between them. They play. I told you it's going to be close. With Max Verstappen peeping to the P1, showing his dominance that yes, his edge is there. But he didn't know that. You don't know. From P1 to P10, the gap between them was just a 0.6 of a second. Now going into the main coco. You know, when I saw Carlos Sainz march into the driver's presser on Thursday, I saw confidence in him. He was oozing confidence. And all through this weekend, he has shown tremendous pace. In FP2 and FP3, he was fastest. And today, he just looked so smart, and it was just like, I want to impress everybody. I want to impress these Tifosi fans, these Ferrari fans. I want to show them that I might be Spaniard, but we are so close. Just borders are around each other. I am a close-blooded Italian. Came up a blistering pole position of 310th away from Max Verstappen. That was massive. With Max Verstappen coming P2 and his teammate Charles Leclerc P3. George Russell squeezed his way into P4. Mercedes were struggling. I think they have race pace, but the Mercedes were struggling. Hey, well, they struggled into P4. George Russell being able to get another one on his teammate Lewis Hamilton consecutive races. If you remember last week, he was able to get P4 in Holland, and here too is getting a P4. Sergio Perez also 2 tenths away from the leaderboard in P5. Alex Albon, Williams, P6. Williams, they are showing us that it's no joke. It's no joke. Oscar Piastri, P7. Lewis Hamilton, P8. He struggled into P8. He struggled. He was not getting the balance right. I think the balance was better in FP3, but qualifying, I don't know what they changed on the two Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton didn't really get balance. It was George Russell that struggled in FP3, but Lewis Hamilton struggled with balance in qualifying. Lando Norris coming ninth and Alonso 10th on the grid. That is going to be a massive race tomorrow because the distance in Q3, the distance between P1 and P8 was just 6 tenths. And that is going to show a great deal tomorrow in what is going to happen in the race. I said it earlier, there's going to be over 3 yellow flags. There's going to be like 1 or 2 red flags. Then there's a course in Monza. Person that wins last year will not win this year. So, but if they get something close to a win, they are lucky. But there's no win for Red Bull tomorrow. I don't see a win for Ferrari tomorrow. And some of you will be like, so who will win? The winner of the race is between the Mercedes and the McLaren winning tomorrow. But which Mercedes is winning, I don't know. But I know that there's a possibility a Ferrari is going to be out tomorrow, or 2 Ferraris will be out of the race tomorrow. Red Bull will be out of the race tomorrow, and I'm tipping Max Verstappen out of the race tomorrow. Until tomorrow, still remains the X on F1. Thank you, we love you. Subscribe, like, share, comment. I love you. Bye. Chi.
Gibor gives you power. Gibor gives you control. Gibor gives you benefits. Are you an individual or business that uses fuel or gas? Use Gibor to find the best prices across all retail outlets in your city. For users and businesses that buy volumes, Gibor gives you access to credit. Gibor also gives you the ability to track your costs and monitor expenses per car or fleet. Need to improve your costs, enjoy incentives, or track expense? Gibor is the answer. Enjoy 5% discount on your first 5 purchases when you get your next fuel voucher from Gibor. Log on to www.gibor.co to enjoy this. Retail outlets wanted nationwide.
We have a new friend in the house. We are in Nigeria here, West Africa. He provides internet for us. They provide the best internet around the mainland, and I know they are still moving to the highland and they are moving all around Nigeria. But for you to get internet on the mainland, contact Fibrad Telecom Limited. They get you sorted out ASAP. The best cable internet on the mainland, fiber, I think they get sorted out. We talk much about them in the course of some of our videos, but contact them, they get sorted out. If you're a builder, if you're an art collector, if you have a showroom, Rated is the best place to get the artworks you need for your new buildings, for your art collections, for your showroom, for your exhibition. Rated Art have one of the best murals, mosaic works, and different art patterns in Nigeria presently. And it's somebody that you can communicate with, talks to you, you tell him what you want, and he will bring the reality out for you. Contact Rated Art. His number is right up here, and you can also go on social media links that are pasted right up here to check out some of his works. Thank you. Teams Gadget is for those of you that cannot easily go to the market to get your phones, your laptops, your accessories. Just place a call through. His phone number is there. It gets you the best. It's your shop plug to get you the best phones, accessories, laptops, games, and other accessories for your computer gaming experience. Contact Teams Gadget and you get them for you.